You've been traveling by horseback for months and months in a wild, untamed land. It's hot, dry, dusty. Then one day, like a miracle, you come to a beautiful place by a gentle little creek. It's cool, green, shady. This is where the unforgettable story that the whole world remembers begins. On May 1st, 1718, Father Antonio Olivares, a Franciscan priest, has arrived with a group of soldiers from New Spain at the headwaters of San Pedro Creek. He'd been here before, back in 1709, but this time he intended to stay because this place had everything needed to build a mission: water for farming, good hunting and fishing, and for his Catholic Church, souls to be saved. And so, in 1718, Father Olivares established Mission San Antonio de Valero, known today as the Alamo. It was the first of 5 Spanish missions established in San Antonio. By 1800, the Alamo was no longer being used as a mission by the Catholic Church. It was now a fort that became world famous as the site of a siege and battle in 1836 that was fought for independence from Mexico. Alamo defender William Barrett Travis wrote in his famous letter from the Alamo, "To the people of Texas and all Americans in the world, the enemy has demanded a surrender. I shall never surrender or retreat. I call on you in the name of liberty, of patriotism, to come to our aid. The enemy is receiving reinforcements daily. I am determined to sustain myself as long as possible and die like a soldier. Victory or death." The battle was lost, and all the Alamo defenders, including Crockett, Bowie, and Travis, died on March 6, 1836. But this loss sparked others to fight on even harder. That's when their battle cry of "Remember the Alamo" was born. Soon afterwards, the Texians won independence from Mexico. Here are some things that a lot of people don't know, but now you will. The Alamo didn't always look the way it does today. The hump on the famous Alamo facade was added in 1849 by the U.S. Army. The Alamo was the first structure west of the Mississippi officially preserved as a historic landmark. The Alamo has served many purposes over its 300-year history: 80 years as a mission, 50 years as a fort, 130 years as the center of a growing city. It almost feels like it's been more things than Texas has bluebonnets. For instance, it was the first hospital in Texas, and a general store, and a warehouse, and even a police substation. But a big reason why it's such a priceless historic treasure today is because a group of ladies called the Daughters of the Republic of Texas restored the Alamo and kept it free and open to the public for over 100 years until the General Land Office of the state of Texas took control. Another thing you should know, primarily because it was a Spanish colonial mission, the Alamo, along with San Antonio's 4 other missions, is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, just like the pyramids of Egypt. So this is a really big deal. The Conservation Society of San Antonio was key in making that happen by coming up with the idea to apply for the UNESCO designation and funding it. You see, the Conservation Society helped restore the missions for decades and decades. When you visit the Alamo, be sure to notice the historic group of buildings facing it on Alamo Plaza. Although they are not as old as the Alamo, these century-old structures, the Crockett, Palace, and Woolworth Building, are treasures from history too. They each have an important and interesting story to tell. Come visit the Alamo, especially if you live in Texas. Why? Maybe author Frank Dobie said it best. Every Texan has 2 hometowns, his own and San Antonio. That's because San Antonio has long been the heart and soul of Texas. And a lot of that started at the cradle of Texas liberty, the Alamo. The Conservation Society of San Antonio is an organization made up of people from all over San Antonio who care about preserving historic sites, culture, and traditions for future generations.